All right, y'all, with the NBA postseason quickly approaching, these are the teams that have a real chance of winning an NBA championship. Let's get right into it. The first true contender I have on this list is the Phoenix Suns. When the NBA regular season initially started, I didn't think the Suns had a chance of winning an NBA championship. Chris Paul is a little bit older. His body doesn't really hold up during the regular season, and it seems to always break down at some point during the postseason. Devin Booker hasn't really shown that he can be a true number one option. His game doesn't elevate the way you'd like it to during the postseason. And for some reason, the Suns just don't feature DeAndre Ayton enough on the offensive end. There was a lot of holes in the team, but now that they went ahead and acquired Kevin Durant and added him to the nucleus of the team, it changes the whole dimension of the squad. Devin Booker can now slide into the second option, and Chris Paul can take less of a role on offense. And now that you have Ayton as the fourth option, it makes them a lethal opponent for any team to battle in the postseason. They have Terrence Ross, who they acquired, who's a viable six-man option. He can offer scoring off of the bench. TJ Warren, who's also a good role player. So the Suns do have a lot of weapons that they can throw at you. And I think they're going to be a tough out for any team in the Western Conference. It is unfortunate that Kevin Durant was injured. He suffered a significant ankle injury that kept him out for the last few weeks. But I'm sure that as Kevin Durant will be able to integrate himself in the lineup and really figure it out and help the Suns make a long postseason run when the playoffs start. So the Suns are a team that you got to take serious. They're a team that has a great chance of winning an NBA championship. They will be a true contender once the postseason begins. Next team I have on this list is the Milwaukee Bucks. The Milwaukee Bucks have been playing really well this season. They've been dominating on the defensive end. They're currently in the top 5 in defensive rating. They've been able to do all of this without having Chris Middleton in the lineup. He's missed a huge portion of the NBA season due to injury that he's been dealing with. He's been the second best player on the Milwaukee Bucks for a number of years. So Giannis has had to step up his game. He's putting up an MVP type of performance this year. Drew Holiday has had to take on a more of a significant role on the offensive end, and they've been getting great contributions from Brook Lopez, Bobby Portis, and a number of their role players. The Milwaukee Bucks have what it takes to win an NBA championship. They've done it before. They still have the same nucleus intact. They could have potentially won an NBA championship last postseason if Chris Middleton wasn't out dealing with an injury. Giannis was still able to dominate against the Boston Celtics last postseason. He was able to take them to 7 games with the help of Drew Holiday, who also played phenomenal during the postseason. So now that the Milwaukee Bucks will have a healthy team going into the postseason this year, they have all the makings of what it takes to win an NBA championship. They have improved supporting cast. They have added toughness to the team, and hopefully they're healthy when the postseason comes around. So there's no denying that the Milwaukee Bucks are true contenders. The next team I have on this list is the Boston Celtics. The Boston Celtics have been playing really well this season. It seems like they have some carryover from last season. They're currently top 5 in offensive and defensive rating. They've been playing really well on both ends of the ball. Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown are both dominating. It seems like they've taken a leap in their games. They're still young and there's still room to grow. So the experiences that they got last year has paid big dividends for them this season. Ime Udoka will not be there to coach them this year, but they've taken a lot from him. And it seems like their whole approach has changed from last season to this season. And they will be one of those teams that will be there when it's all said and done. I know they had a rough patch over the last few weeks. They've been losing some games that they shouldn't have, but I don't think that's anything to really worry about. I think sometimes the regular season gets a little mundane, and as we approach the postseason, I'm sure they'll start to tighten things up. They'll start to get ready and lock into the postseason mode and make sure that they're ready to make a deep playoff run for the postseason. So the Boston Celtics is one of the top teams in the Eastern Conference for the entire season. They've been consistent throughout the season. They've been disciplined throughout the season, and their nucleus has been together for a long period of time. And it seems like they continue to improve by the game, and they continue to build the chemistry and the synergy that is needed to win an NBA championship. The next team I have on this list is the Los Angeles Clippers. This may come at a surprise for many people, but the Clippers are one of the more talented and deeper teams in the league. They have a lot of depth at a number of different positions. They have a proven coach who has coached on the biggest of stages. He's a coach who's shown He knows how to make adjustments during a game. So I think the Clippers will surprise a lot of people when the postseason comes around. They're currently 5th in the Western Conference. That can change at any time now, as the Western Conference standings are pretty close. Teams are only separated by a game. It has been a strange season for the Clippers. They got off to a rough start, but I mean, that was due to Kawhi Leonard being in and out of the lineup. He was still rehabbing his knee. Paul George dealt with some injuries early in the year. So the Clippers are still finding their way. They're still building the synergy. They're still building the chemistry that is needed to be a real contender. But with the veterans that they have on their team, I'm sure in these last 10 games or so, the Clippers will be playing their best basketball and be ready to enter the postseason with the mindset of winning an NBA championship. I'm sure everything will come together. They're one of those teams that turns it on and off. Of course, nobody likes to see that from a team. It's not a good sign, but I think they may be one of the teams that may be able to pull it off. They have a lot of depth. They have a lot of veterans. They have players that have played in a lot of playoff series. They have Kawhi Leonard, who's won a number of NBA championships and who is a viable #1 option that they can count on from game to game, as long as the Clippers can find a way to stay healthy. And I know that's a big if, considering how they've looked in the last few years. But I think the Clippers have all the makings of winning an NBA championship. I don't think it would be a surprise to anybody if they do win one this NBA season. The last and final team that I have on this list is the Philadelphia 76ers. They did not crack the top 4, but they are an honorable mention. The Sixers have been playing really well this season. James Harden has stepped up his game. He's not playing as passive as he has in the past. He's actually looking for a shot a lot more, and that helps the entire offense as it takes off a lot of pressure off of Joel Embiid. Their role players are playing a lot better. Tyrese Maxey continues to improve. Tobias Harris is doing his job. And they added PJ Tucker to the lineup, which will help a lot when the postseason comes around. He's a defensive presence. He's a veteran presence. And he's someone who can hold James Harden accountable when the postseason comes around. I know he's probably not going to be able to stop Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, or Giannis, but he's a player that can hold his own and contain them to some degree and help the Sixers' chances when the postseason comes around. So the Sixers are playing great basketball. They're currently top 10 in offensive and defensive rating. They've been playing pretty consistent and pretty well the whole entire season. And I don't think it will be a surprise to anybody if they do win an NBA championship this year. Milwaukee and Boston are still better than them, but the Philadelphia 76ers are right there behind them. And anything can happen when the postseason comes around. The Sixers can get hot and they can potentially get out the Eastern Conference and win an NBA championship this season. So we'll see how that plays out, but that is my contenders. Be sure to like, subscribe, comment below, and let me know your thoughts on this list of contenders that I have here. Be sure to check out our next video, which will feature the pretenders as we enter the postseason, and I'm out.